In this video, we'll be looking at Group POI in Teragon. This will be a two-part video. This part will be about how to use Group POI that you have available. The second part will be how to create Group POI. Group POI is a special feature in Teragon that lets you group multiple POI, tiles, and parts into a single POI that can be placed on a map without having to manually place each of those items every time. As of right now, there are two Group POI that I'm aware of. One is the Airport mod by AH64 Jimbo. This comes with multiple layouts that are available to use. The second is the Mega Mall by Fluffy Panda. This one has the same layout each time, but includes variations with different traders so that you can have a specific trader set up with that POI. For both of these mods, the group is very large, and having to manually place each of those POI tiles and parts manually would take a lot of time. By using the Group POI in Teragon, you can place the entire item as a single POI, and it takes you very little time to do so. To begin, you want to be able to create a map that you like. This should be just terrain with no towns or POI added. You can use any preset that you like to do this. The main thing is you want to have an open, flat space available where that Group POI can fit. In most cases, Group POI will end up being very large. This is because you are including multiple POI and tiles as part of that group. This can make it harder to find a flat space large enough for that group to fit on. For example, the Airport mod can have a size upwards of 2000 by 2000, which makes it very difficult to find a place if you're using that specific variation of the airport. For the Fluffy Panda mod, which we're going to be using in this example, that one is just over 500 wide and just under 500 tall. So you need to make sure that you have space available for something that size. If we look at the map I've already generated, if this was the map that you want to use, we have a flat space here that would give us enough space. There are also some spots in other locations where we could also place it. In this case, I'm going to look at placing it right here. The first step you want to do is you want to add an add source path if your Group POI uses anything other than vanilla POI. To do that, the best thing to do is go to where you already have add source path and click on that. Then click on add source path on available commands. Click the add button. So now you have a new add source path command here. And we're going to change this to point to just the mods folder. If your Group POI is somewhere else, you would point it to that location. The second step we want to do is to turn off create towns and create region POIs. If those are already off from when you generated the map without them, that's fine. We want to leave these off when we're creating the placement of the Group POI so we can make sure that it is placed where we want it. The second thing we need to do is above these two commands, we want to create the POI. So I'm going to click on this comment here, POIs. You would click on whatever command is above create towns to do this. I'm going to click on create POI, not create region POIs, but create POI. Click on add, and then we're going to use this command to place the POI. The first step you want to do is change this POI property file to the POI property file that goes with that group. In this case, I'm using Fluffy's Mega Mall, and the POI list is in Group POIs, and this is the file name for that. As long as you get the correct location and file name, when you go to the next line, you will see any available groups that are part of that. The Fluffy Mega Mall comes with a version for each biome, and you can choose whichever one you want. The only difference between them is that the trader is different by biome. So the forest will be wrecked, the burnt forest will be gen, and so on. Depending on where you get the group file, or if you create it yourself, this file could be placed in different locations. In this example, Fluffy Panda uses a Group POIs folder. The airport mod uses a Teragon folder. Other mods may use other folders for where this POI group file is located. As you just need to find where that is, and you want to point to it. It will be a text file. Next, you want to put in the game path location. As long as you have it set up in initial setup, you can use this format, square bracket, game path square bracket. Otherwise, you can put in the actual path to where your game's exe folder is located. Next, we need to choose which group file we want to use. So I'm going to choose desert because that's where I'm going to place it. This then will fill out the name for you. And then we need to decide where we're going to place the POI. To do that, since we've already created our map, we're going to go to 2D preview. And we're going to find the location we want to place it. In this case, I want to place it here. The location you choose will be the bottom left corner of the POI. So if I placed it here, it's going to go up into the mountains, which we don't want. So I'm going to pick it right here. Like I said, this group POI is just over 500 long and just about 500 high. And each of these squares is 500 meters by 500 meters. So choosing this location, we've got room without it being on top of hills or mountains. It's important that you do know the size of the group POI you're going to place so that you can find a place that will work. So I'm going to go to this location and I'm going to use Control-C to copy that location. And then I'm going to go to the Expert tab again under Create POI. I'm going to click on this first box in position and use Control-V to paste. And you can see that it put in the coordinates for minus 1529 and 3. That's where that's going to be placed. You can also manually type in those coordinates, but it's usually easier just to copy and paste. At this time, Group POI can't use rotation, so you are just going to leave that alone. The vertical offset and extra POI size and smoothing range can usually be left alone unless you want to adjust those settings. And as of right now, repopulate tiles does not work for Group POI. Once you have this done, all you are going to do is click on Run. This will regenerate your terrain, as well as add this POI group. Note that if you want to speed things up, you can also export your terrain and then import it each time. You can do the same with biomes and region maps and water maps. There will be another video later that will include how to use export and import. But in this example, we're just going to regenerate the map each time. To save time, I've already regenerated these maps, so we're not going to go through that process. But what you would do is just click Run and let it generate the map for you. Once the preset is done generating, you will now see that you have the same map, but you now have the Group POI added on the map. If we look in closer, we can see that this Group POI has a lot of different POI tiles, and there are also a lot of parts on here. If you had done this by hand, you would have had to place all of those individually, which would take a lot of time. By using Teragon's Group POI command, you can place the entire Group POI with just those couple of steps that we looked at on any map in a very short amount of time with little effort. This makes it easier to make use of these large groups of POI without having to spend a lot of time doing so. As you can see, I did cut into the hills and mountains a little bit here. If you don't like your placement, if you wanted to avoid doing that, you can take and change the coordinates, maybe move it over a little bit in this direction, and then regenerate the map again until you find that you have the group POI where you want it to be. Once you do have it where you want, you can then continue on to create the towns and make sure everything looks good on your map. In this example, I'm just going to leave it where it is. We're going to zoom back out here. And as long as you do like that, where it's located, you can then go to the Expert tab. We're going to enable, create towns, and create region POIs. And then we're going to regenerate the map so that we get those towns and POIs created. Again, as with before, if you wanted to use import and export to save time, you can do so. But in this example, I'm just regenerating the entire map as is. So I would just click on Run and let it continue on to generate the map. To save time though, I'm going to just jump ahead. As you can see, once that's finished on the 2D preview, we have the same map, but now we have towns and POI, and we still have the group POI here. You can take a look at this and see if this is how you want your towns and POIs. If it's not, and you want to change the seed or change some parameters to adjust that, you can do so. Once that's finished and you are happy with how it looks, you can then continue the generation to create your roads and anything else that is in your preset. But as you can see, this is how it would look, having the towns and POI on there with that group POI. It is important that you place the group POI first, that way you have a place to put it. Once you've created the towns and POI, trying to find a flat space for that group POI would be difficult. I've also created a 3D preview so you can see how Fluffy's Mega Mall looks like in 3D. As you can see, you can now place this group POI and any other group POI on any map that you make with only using those two commands, add source path and create POI, without having to manually place every POI tile and part on your map. This can save you a lot of time and make it easy to use large groups of POI that you may not want to have to spend time doing by hand. The next part of this video will show you how to create your own group POI. That will be a lot more time-consuming process because you do need to place every POI tile and part individually. But once you do create your own group POI, you can then use it very easily, just like you see here. If you have any questions or need any help using Group POI or any other part of Teragon, please check out the chat and help channel on Teragon's Discord, and someone will be able to help you.